platforms, and I felt like a little kid listening to him break it down. Hey, Fred. I was watching the interview Country Wayne did with on Club Shay Shay, and I was so impressed by it. Like, first of all, I love the way that he asks the questions on there. It doesn't feel like you're in a class, like it doesn't feel like this is a lesson or a workshop. It's very conversational, but you still can learn a lot depending on who the guest is and how much they're willing to share about their industry. So that's another topic for another day. It's like he's just putting you on game, like you're just talking to, like, it's your family just hanging out. And so I'm not just learning about Country Wayne, but to be honest with you, I didn't pay too much attention to the way that he like structures things, because I it's not necessarily the kind of content that I consume. Like, normally. I can sit and watch the skits cuz a lot of them are interesting, but they're not like it's not like I'm not like a loyal watcher. But what he breaks down in this video, in this interview, was so good. I just remember him from dating Jess Hilarious and all his kids. Yeah, nah, he got 10 kids. He got 10 kids. So, he got to make money. He got to make money because child support is ridiculous. And he's not with any of them. So, all of them getting child support. Oh yeah, no, like he had no choice but to figure this out. But it's so cool that he did, because he breaks it all down. And so I felt like this was right in line with the conversation that's being brought up more and more, which is figuring out how to monetize your creativity, how to monetize your platforms, and coming up with creative ways to make money that does not just rely on you getting brand deals, especially if you don't identify as an influencer, or even if you do, or you identify as a UGC creator, whatever it is that you're doing. A lot of people don't think about how to monetize outside of just getting like commission or getting paid from brand deals, collaborations. The reason why I'm like being careful with the way that I say this is because he does get paid from the content, like strictly from the platform, like the payouts from the platforms, but he's particular about the platforms that he uses. And he also is producing a lot of content. So he's producing a lot of content, and he has the capital to keep the machine going. So he is, that's actually a good question. So the two of the platforms that he uses are Facebook and YouTube. Those are his two main platforms. So I thought that that was interesting, because oh my gosh, I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook, like to be over there. But if I'm thinking business, then it's one of them things where it's like, get over it. Because if it's going to monetize your content, then you really should consider it. UGC is user generated content. So it's people that create content for brands to use on their platforms. So yeah, she answered it for you. So yeah, so he uses Facebook and he uses YouTube. I know YouTube is definitely one of those platforms where it's like this is where you really make the money. Like, as far as if you're trying to get the revenue from your content, just like from the streams or the plays, then YouTube is still the best place, the best platform for that. But especially for like more short form content, Facebook is definitely up there when it comes to people being able to make money on there. And if you are able to create a decent amount of content on there, you can build a really good following from Facebook. And I know a couple of people who have said like Facebook has been that deal for them in terms of the engagement and even just the reach, and then of course the money, the payouts for it. And so he described how he is able to create as much content as he does, and the structure. He like kind of went into the structure of it. And so here is what he does, y'all. Are y'all ready to hear the breakdown of this? Because if you can see, he spends $250,000 creating this content. 250,000. Okay, so he I think, and on there he said that he creates on average about 9 videos a day. 9 videos a day. Okay, and if he's not making up to 9, he don't miss days. Like he don't take no days off when it comes to content being posted on the platform, right? Yeah, and I'm sitting here listening and I'm like, how do you have time to make that much content? But here's the thing, okay? He's not the only one making content for his channels. So he has creators on payroll. And so everybody creates their own content. Everybody's responsible, almost like a network, like a TV network. So everybody's responsible for creating. Thanks for the follow, Serenity. Everybody's responsible for creating their own content, and they send the content over to him, right? And so the content then gets distributed across his different platforms, right? Across the 2 platforms that he focuses on. And so he posts them to one platform first, and then from that platform, he cross posts the same ones to the other one, right? So they're being put simultaneously on each platform, right? And then on top of that, they're creating they're recording all in one shot. Like y'all, if you could think like Tyler Perry but social media, this is how he's running his business. Literally like Tyler Perry, how he goes, it's a very quick turnover for his projects. So he's like, I don't worry about edits. I don't worry about, because John does a really good job of getting his content out. It's just like, just create it. And most of it's done in one shot, one take. Even if you look, like there aren't edits. Now there's someone recording it, and there's movement in the videos. Hey, Don. And no, because if that's your goal, is to have the quantity, and especially if your biggest stream of revenue is coming from you creating the content and getting the payout from creating the content, then this is a business structure that works, especially for people who are in the entertainment space. So there are some people who are not, they're not supposed to be coaches. They're not supposed to be mentors. Like their job is entertainment. So you still have ways where you can get you can earn revenue from creating content, but it doesn't have to be the traditional, I have an ebook or I have a course. Like everybody doesn't have to do that, and everybody shouldn't do that because everybody's not a teacher, right? And so, which I got my thoughts on that. Because I'm gonna table that for a little bit. But if for you yourself, this is your brand. If your brand is entertainment, then there is a method for you to be able to earn an income through something like this, through payouts. Even another person who does a good job with this, who has a different pay structure or who has a different business model. Oh man, I'm sorry, I don't know what you missed. Another creator who does a good job of this is Kev on Stage, right? Because Kev on Stage is also an entertainer. He's also a comedian too, ironically. And so he has most of his revenue comes from his Patreon. So he creates a lot of content. He's like another one of the people that just like generates content very quickly, right? Like he just goes, records it, whatever comes to his mind, just record it, right? And then he has his Patreon, where the money that the people pay for his Patreon subscription is 3, and then there's 5, and I think there's 7. And so they get exclusive content, right? So they get behind the scenes things. They get to come up with topics for the podcast. There's things there's like certain shows that are just for the Patreon community that you won't get unless you pay for the Patreon. So he's making the content that is able for everybody to consume for free. Then he has the content that he's creating inside of his Patreon. And then he also has the benefits and the perks that go along with it. And so Kevin on Stage actually did have a course as well. And I think the course was fine. I bought the course. I enjoyed it. He is really good at breaking down how to make content that people care about. Like, he's really good at that. But that's not his main source of income. You know, like that's not what's generating the most revenue. But he's an entertainer. And so he's figured out how to monetize it where he's still getting, because Kevin's still getting the payouts because his videos do numbers. And I think that if he's not at 1 million on most of his platforms, he's kind of close to 1 million. He's up there when it comes to that. And he gets a lot of views on his content. So he's still getting the payouts from that. He does speaking engagements. He goes on tour. Like, you know, like there's different structures for him to be able to monetize his creativity. And so anyway, let's get back to Kountry Wayne. So Kountry Wayne, because the videos are broken up into these skits, the people create the content for him. He's like, he shows up on maybe like 1 video a day, right? And if y'all have ever followed his content, he does not be in that content most of the time. He'll be a character in the storylines, but he's not in a lot of the videos. Like, the people are creating the content for him. They're telling the stories for him. And so he said that on average, outside of them making about between $10,000 to $15,000, that's what he pays the actors or the content creators. They also work like maximum like 4 days out of the month for his brand. So not only is it a nice pay structure, like they're getting paid, they don't have to work a lot of hours, or at least maybe they work a lot of hours in a day, but they only work for those 4 days. So they're creating a bulk of content. They're telling like this is what I imagine is happening. I'm not behind the scenes on this, but this is what I'm thinking they're doing, right? 4 days out of the week, out of the month, there's 1 day where they record for maybe like an hour or 2 hours, right? And then they break that up into skits, because each skit is some of them, I'm trying to remember how long they are. They're definitely over a minute, but they're not like really, really long skits, right? So if you're recording for an hour, 2 hours, think about how many videos you have in that time frame. So if I take 2 hours out of the week to run through this skit, record all the content for it, and then I send it to Wayne, or to Wayne's people, because he doesn't edit the content himself. I'm sending it to his people to chop up the videos, or maybe they're just recording the videos in sections and segments and then just sending over all the clips. Then their social media person, posts the content or schedules the content to be sent out on every page. Once it's live, then it's set to be cross-posted onto the other platform. And now you have content in rotation, and you're paying, I don't know how many people, how many actors or how many content creators he works with right now. But let's just say that you got a couple of them on payroll. Now you got content generating. So he's putting out the 250. Hey, Evie. He's putting out the 250, but he's making back 700 plus on this content. And so he's definitely created a structure and a model that works for him, right? And so I was just so amazed at this payout, because there's a couple of things that he said that stood out to me, which I really appreciated. Because when we hear somebody say, I'm putting out 9 videos a day, we're sitting here thinking that this person is in front of their phone 24/7, right? And he said specifically, he's like, I I'm not tied to social media. He's like, I'm not addicted to it. He said, I can create the content for it and then it gets put out, but I'm not glued to my phone. It frees me up to be able to do other projects because again, it doesn't just solely depend on him to keep on running because he has other people who are creating the content and telling a multitude of stories. There's different storylines within this, right? And so he doesn't have to work a whole lot. The people that work for him don't have to work a whole lot of hours. So that means that they still can balance this project with the other projects that they have going on, their own personal platforms. All of them are actors, so maybe they have their own shows or movies that they're going to be a part of. So this is something that does not take up a lot of their time, but it generates a lot of revenue. And so I appreciated that it does not take up all of his time. That's important. And he got 10 kids, y'all. Okay, he got 10 kids. He needs to spend time with them kids. So it does not take up all of his time. He still gets to spend time with his family. It also is for the money that he's putting out, he's getting well over, he's profiting off of it. Okay, definitely profiting off of it. Yes, definitely watch the interview, Tay. I see Orlando, content creator. Yeah, he's got 10 kids. Yeah. When he started, he said that a lot of them were in his content. He was like, look, if we're going to be pulling from my life, y'all going to be a part of this too. So they on payroll as well. Some of the baby mamas have been in there too. So, it's a family affair. It's a family affair. And so he spends time with his family. He's not constantly glued to his phone. He's also paying the people who work with him very, very well. Okay. I'm not mad at working 4 days out of the month and getting $10,000. I'm not mad at that at all. Like, put me on payroll. That's good. That's really good. And so he's got these different values that are still a part of his brand that he does not stray from. He doesn't stray away from it. Oh, and then here's the last thing, y'all. This was the one that I felt like would definitely be the thing that like ruffles people's feathers. That's why I just keep talking about him. He's a wise man. Listen, when it comes to making money, running business, yeah, the people that create the content, he was like, for the most part, they're working about 4 days out of the month. Four days out of the month. Yeah. Yeah, because it's there's a system to it. So it's working. It's working. Yeah, he's got a team too. He's got a team too. So he's not the one posting this content. He's not the one running his social media. Like he's created it in a way where he does not have to be in all the places, which I aspire towards. Okay. First of all, I aspire towards having something set up like that. But I also really I just love the fact that there is still sticking to who he is, even though he has a lot of people who are involved in it. Like it still has it still stands true to the values that he has for himself and for his brand. And so but the last thing that he said, this is the part that I wanted to make sure I said. The last thing that he said was that a lot of people got on him because he makes clean content. So he doesn't cuss in his content. There isn't any it's not explicit content. Basically, even if there's something going on, he was like, if two people hooking up, you see an elbow, you see a knee, but you don't see like the full scene, right? Like it's not vulgar. And so he says that he does that because this is a business. And so if he's creating content that is going to get flagged or is going to get taken down or is going to negatively affect his platform, that's going to also affect his money. And so he's like, I'm not willing to compromise that. And so he said that a lot of people gave him a hard time, especially because he's a comedian, and clean comedians always get a hard time. Like, people think they're corny, they don't take them seriously. Like, it like, you're technically, like, a lot of people don't feel like you're as funny if you're clean, right? But he said that he doesn't care. He said that because he has clean content and because it has such a broad appeal, that he's able to capitalize on a wider market, like a wider group of people, because he knows who he's talking to, which his content is definitely geared towards Black people, but not he doesn't like make it a smaller niche than that. Like, he wants it to be the Black experience, but like open. So that's why I was like, he definitely is in the same vein as Tyler Perry, because that's the way that Tyler Perry creates too. Like, his content has a very broad appeal. There's young people that watch Tyler Perry stuff. There's also elderly people that watch his stuff, right? Like, it spans across generations. And so this the same thing for his content. Like, he has a very broad appeal. So he has a bigger demographic. And so he's like, even if you don't necessarily rock with him like that, like if his content is not your thing, it's most likely that you still heard about him in any circle or in any group of people, right? Because of the appeal and how widespread it is. And so I really appreciated that, because I think that especially now, like, it just feels like there's so many people who feel like you have to show so much and you have to show up a certain way for the sake of like keeping it real. And like, it makes me think about that skit from Chappelle's show where they had when keeping it real goes wrong. And I think about how many people have got their accounts flagged or they've got their accounts banned. They got to start up new pages and, like all of this stuff that is, and I'm not talking about the people who got banned, unfairly, unjustly, but like people where it was like, nah, I can see why they took your stuff down. Because you was doing a lot, but they feel like they got to do it for the sake of keeping it real and not being fake. And if I don't do this and I'm not true to myself, and it's like, okay, but then maybe this isn't for you because they're going to keep taking your stuff down. Like it doesn't work. Right. And so I think after a certain point, you got to decide, is it worth it to be like, I guess, like as real or as raw as possible, like if that's really your motivation, or if you're just afraid of what it will look like to work with the platforms. Because to a certain extent, we're on here, so there's certain things we gotta cater to. Even with the language that we use on TikTok, unalives and banana and all the other stuff that we say that we don't say in real life. Hey, Kuma, we say it because we have to respect the terms and conditions that come with utilizing this platform. And so being able to be in this space and to still be real, but knowing, okay, certain things don't work here. Now, if you meet me in person, I might sound a little bit different, but it's not because this isn't who I am, but it's because in certain places, there's just certain things that I can't do because I'm in collaboration with this platform in order to make money. Like it has to, we can't evade those things. And so he said that because he's like changed to making clean content, he said that he actually cusses less now. Like by default, he doesn't cuss as much in general, which I thought was funny. But either way, I like that he understands that in order for this, the bottom line is I'm using this to build a business. This is a business. And I know that if I'm going to be on these platforms, there are certain things that have to be in place and there's certain ways that I have to move that don't have to be there. It's not that they're not aligned with who he is or his values, but it's like, if this is something that I have to get rid of, or if this is something that I can't show on here, that's okay. It doesn't take away from who I am. And so like I told y'all before, his values are still set. He doesn't believe in hustling. Like if I gotta hustle and if I gotta grind, he's like, if I can't get 8 hours of sleep, if I can't eat, and if I can't spend time with my family, then it's not from God and it's not for me. And I was like, what? Mic drop moment. I was sitting here. I felt a little convicted. If I felt a little convicted because I was like, man, I'll be hustling sometimes. I'm a recovering hustler, y'all. Okay, I'm a recovering hustler, and so there's times where I get so hyper focused on things that I'm not taking care of myself like I should. And I'll be the first to admit it. Okay. But I'm striving for it. Okay. I'm moving towards to living a life of grace. Okay. And not hustling and getting myself exhausted. And when I get to a place where I'm getting the things that I want, I can actually enjoy them. Right. Hustlers Anonymous, because we need a support group. We need a support group. That's how I got started with business, y'all. As an entrepreneur, I got started by hustling. I was hustling. It wasn't drugs. Yeah. Oh, yeah, y'all. Shout out to Ron for sending this video to me. Thank you. Because I wouldn't have even known about this if Ron hadn't sent it to me. So I appreciate that. Y'all can do that too. If y'all see some content that you want me to talk about, or if you think that it would be an interesting topic of conversation, y'all can send it to me. Because I don't see everything. And I strive to not be on these apps as much. So y'all sending me stuff is going to help me out with that mission of not being glued to my phone. So yeah, but thank you, Ron. It was actually really good. It was so interesting to me that I went and watched the whole interview. So it was definitely a good conversation. And he gave a lot of good information in it. So, but yeah, I was talking about the model that he uses to monetize his content. And the reason why this was it was like such a spot on topic is because I've been talking about monetizing our content, like really figuring out different ways to make an income off of what we do that doesn't just rely on brand deals, that does not just rely on it doesn't put us in a place where we're burning ourselves out. I think that's really what I really want to say. Hey, welcome home. I want us to get to a place where we're monetizing without burning ourselves out. And I think I'm going to change my language to reflect that, because there are some people who the bulk of their income might come from brand deals. That's just the kind of creator that they are. And then there's some people who are going to do it more from affiliate stuff, right? Or there's some people who are better at selling digital courses or digital products rather. So finding the model, hey, healing, finding the model that works for us. What does it look like for me to monetize? This strategy works for him because he's an entertainer, right? This might not work for somebody who is a coach. If you don't have the time to invest in creating 9 videos a day, you should not feel like you should do that, because what's going to happen is, first of all, it's not going to be in alignment with who you are. It doesn't make sense for you. You're not an entertainer. Don't do that. You're going to burn yourself out. But maybe you spend more time creating content that's more educational, or content that people will want to share with people because it helped them. Stuff that's actionable. It still has your personality. It still got your flavor, but it's going to be different for you. Monetization is different for you, Kyrie. All right. So this is really about it being authentic. It's about it being something that you can do and that you can create. And so I've been having this conversation because I'm going to be hosting a workshop. Okay. And this is probably the quickest I've ever put something together. But it's because it's one of those things that I've been sitting on for a really long time. So not the last video that I posted, but the video that I posted before this, I was breaking down. Thank you, Helen. I'm definitely confident in it. It's just, it's funny because this is literally like the quickest I've ever like just said yes to something. But it's been so many times where I've been able to like help people to see what makes sense for them in order to monetize, because that's one of the questions that people ask all the time. They're like, I want to make money from my content, but I feel like the only way that I can do that is through brand deals. Or I feel like the only way that I can do this is through TikTok Shop, right? When I'm looking at them and maybe they're really good at teaching, or maybe they really should focus on, a specific type of content, not content, but a specific type of product, because people really resonate with, they talk about that product. So it's like, if you lean into this space, you can start to see yourself generate more income in what you're doing, right? Or maybe there's some people who they really are just entertaining. Like, people just enjoy watching you. They love listening to you talk. They'll sit there and listen to you talk about anything. And that could be the way that you bring in income. Having something that centers around that. Maybe you're somebody who's really good at writing. Like, your writing is top tier. There's just something about the way that you can express yourself with words that is effective, it's impactful. How do you monetize that, right? Like, really opening up and expanding our thinking from, this is just the only way that I can create. And so the workshop that I'm going to have, the workshop right now, the date that I have is March 9th. And so the way that I want to set it up is we're going to focus a little bit, not too much time, because that part can take a lot of time, and I really want it to be actionable. But the first part is going to be some of the barriers or some of the challenges that you might have with monetizing, because for some people, we want to do it, but we're afraid to actually put a price tag to what we're creating, right? Like, we feel like we got to keep doing this for free. I haven't done this long enough yet. I can't help people with this yet. Or I can't charge for this yet, and it's like, but no, you spent time, you spent energy, you've created wonderful things that you deserve to be compensated for, right? So what are the hangups with that? Talking about that. We're also going to talk about how to take it from your platform of choice, because I realize that not everybody rocks with TikTok like that, right? This is not everybody's cup of tea, but you have some place where it's worth your time and it's worth the energy that you put forth into it, and you get a better return on your investment when you create there. So what does that platform look like for you, and what does the journey look like from when people first find out about you all the way to now they are purchasing from you, or they're investing in you at whatever stage that is, right? The other thing that we're going to talk about is, what is that thing for you? What is that product? What is that service? And I'm only going to focus on one, okay? You might get more ideas as we sit there, or maybe you've had some ideas and you want to just know, where should I start? We can talk about that too. So if you've had a couple of ideas that you've been thinking about, or you've been sitting on for a few years, but the reason why you haven't acted on it is because you're like, I don't know where to start, and I don't know which thing I should spend my time on just yet, we can figure out that too, right? And then the last thing is going to be coming up with the strategy to begin to talk about it. Now, I don't have enough time to help everybody individually with an entire content cadence to market it. But I do want to make sure that, and in the workshop, I open up the availability for us to have that conversation. So I have not done this in so long, y'all, but we can definitely have like a strategy session if you're not sure what the content looks like. Okay. So I will have that available, but I'm going to talk about that inside of the workshop. And then if I open it up to the public, then I'll open it up to the public. But that's going to be the flow of how it's going to go. Hey, Andy, Thank you for following, Portia. So that's going to be the flow of it. And so this is going to be good for people. Here are the type of people that should be a part of it. Let me make sure I add this part in there too. So if you are a creator, you're a content creator, you're an influencer, and you've been creating content for a while, and you're at the place where you're trying to figure out how to monetize it, then this is going to be for you. If you're someone who has a product or a service already, but you're not necessarily sure how to like optimize it, that's going to be the best way I could put it. Like maybe you have something, but it feels like maybe you dropped the ball on marketing it or talking about it, then you also can find value in this workshop, because you're probably struggling with one of those problems too, right? And so those are going to be the people this is going to be the perfect fit for. And then the last people, let me make sure I say this too, is the people who have an understanding of their brand already. And the reason why I say that is because the branding piece is a journey in and of itself. And so you may not have like all of the pieces, right? Like it may not be the full blown, I have a brand profile, I know who my people are, I know who my audience is. You may have some questions there, but if you don't have any idea at all, you might get a little tripped up in this workshop. And so I would suggest that if you want to sign up for it, I would suggest that you get the workbook and start to work through the workbook, so that when you get to that place where you get to the workshop, you're a little bit more prepared and you have some answers to some of the questions that you need to answer. But if you're like not ready for all of that yet, you don't want to jump straight into monetization, okay? And you don't want to do that, because you'll start to make the money your mission. You'll start to make the money what drives you, and not you having a bigger vision for what you're trying to create, okay? So I'm not the person for you if it's just about money. Like, I can't operate that way. I literally cannot help you. I'll get so frustrated. I have to know what it is that you're trying to build, because then that helps me to give you strategy. So those are the people who I would suggest join the class. Okay. All right. Last person, forgot about this. If you have an idea of what you want to do, but you're afraid to start it, this is going to be for you too. Okay. So maybe you don't necessarily need help with the product idea or the service idea, but you are getting tripped up with actually starting and implementing it. Because one aspect of this is going to also be for us to be able to break out, because I want to have the accountability that follows it, so that people not only are there and they're excited, but they're following through in the steps. Okay. So I'm gonna answer your questions now, y'all. Sorry, I got to get it out. Otherwise, y'all know I'll go off into a whole nother place. If you want to join the workshop is available in my bio. Okay. It's $97, 90 minutes plus accountability. You also have the option to split it up into 2 payments. If you need it split further, I am more than willing to do that, but I would need you to contact me and ask if you can make that available, and I'll be more than willing to do that for you. But it'll be March 9th is when we're going to have the workshop. And so March 9th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're gonna break down what it looks like specifically for each person. So like I said before, if you need like really, really customized strategy, I'm going to have the session available for you to talk to me one-on-one, but I'm going to be giving you as many ideas as I can for how to monetize in different industries, because how you monetize as an influencer is not going to be the same as how you monetize as a coach, or as a UGC creator, or as a entertainer. Like everybody has their thing. So there's going to be some questions that I'll ask you that'll help you navigate that and figure out what that looks like for you. But as people enroll, I'm going to be looking at y'all pages, so I can come in with some things for you as they come to my mind too, because that is I don't know why y'all. It's just a gift. It's just a gift. But I can look at people and I can see, oh, this is how you flow. This makes sense for you. This is how you move, right? And then helping you to think about what it looks like to get started. So that's it. That's what I got for y'all. I really want to come back and like break this down some more for you. And I might do it in a video. I might do it in a video, but I just was so impressed with the way that he monetizes and the way that not only does he monetize it, but that he also is creating jobs for other people. Like, it's just dope. It's just dope off of his personal brand. It's wild. It's wild to me. So, yeah, actually, y'all, I know another person I want to talk about in at another time. There is, I want to talk to musicians. That's who I want to talk to next because I don't know if y'all know the rapper Vince Staples. Trying to think. I feel like I don't know if he said that he retired or not. I don't know. Anyway, Vince Staples is a rapper, but he also has a show that just came out on Netflix that is a self-titled show based off of his life. And he kind of talks about this topic too of making money as a creative. And so it's very dry humor. So if you're somebody who likes Atlanta, or if you like what was that other show called? Like Grand Crew, or it's another show that it reminds me of. Those are the two I could think of off the top of my head, where it's like the humor is just like a little dry. Like, not a little, it's very dry. It's very dry. But it has like a deeper meaning to it. So it's a very good show. But I like the way that he talks about the fact that he used his career as a rapper to make money because he was good at it, and use that to fund the things that he really wanted to do outside of rapping. And so I thought that was interesting because him and Donald Glover, they are two people who I really admire when it comes to the like being in different spaces and different lanes as creators, and excelling in them because they're doing well in pretty much anything they decide to do. But I think that it's cool how it still all looks like them and sounds like them, even as they go into these different spaces, and everything is used to fund their other projects. So I'll come back and talk about that. But with Vince Staples, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more digging because I don't know much about him outside of his rap career and this show. So I'm going to listen to a couple more things that he has, and we can talk about that, or I'll just use the show as an example. I might use the show as an example because I watch a lot of TV. So I'm always getting ideas from TV. But that's it, y'all. That's it. So if you're looking to monetize your creativity and you want to do it in a way that makes sense for who you are, and it flows, then the workshop is going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. And in the meantime, I'm going to drop a couple more examples of what it looks like to monetize some different models. I have one for podcasters. I have an idea for podcasters, y'all. Especially because I don't know if y'all know this. This is just a little tea, okay? But brand deals for podcasts are getting slim. Okay? Slim. Like, I mean, even the podcasters who have huge followings are the brand deals are they're not there. They're not as strong as they used to be. And so a lot of people have been saying that it's because podcast is overrated now or is dying down. That's not true. Okay. But what is happening is that overall brands are getting very particular about who they decide to collaborate with. And I think that there's also some things going on with like the value that they get from them, or with the perceived value that they get from them. And so there's a lot of stuff going on in the brand collaboration space, right? But being able to monetize your podcast is still possible. It's still possible. And so this example that I have, I'm not going to share it yet. I'm going to share it in a video. I got to leave y'all waiting. One more. But the example that I'm going to show y'all is going to be for people who have a podcast where they have guests come on. And it doesn't have to be a guest only podcast, but if you do have recurring like guest spots on your podcast, and if you have a community of some sort, so whether you have a Patreon or whether you have a newsletter or even a Discord connected to your podcast community, this format is going to be really good for you. Also, if the types of topics that you discuss on your platform are like professional in some sense. So if your guests are business owners, or if your guests are entrepreneurs, honestly, this could work even if your guests aren't entrepreneurs. If your guests have something that people want to know more information about. Oh man, now I was just thinking that it ain't even got to be like that. Okay, let me bring it back. I'm getting so excited, y'all. Okay, if you have a podcast and you have guests on that podcast, this structure might work for you. I'm gonna leave it at that, because now I'm over here thinking, I'm like, oh my goodness, because that will be so dope. Okay, I'm getting excited now. Okay, but yeah, so I'm gonna make a video about that. I'm sorry. I really do get hype about this. Yeah, I wrote that one down because when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about my friend. He's a podcaster, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, this will be a really dope format if he decided to do this. And then I was like, oh, this is possible. So yeah, it's going to be like I'm going to leave it like it's going to be a pitch, okay? It's going to be like a little business idea, and I'm going to use his podcast as an example, which works in two ways, because then I can promote his podcast, because this is a dope podcast, but I can also demonstrate how it can be monetized. So yeah. Yeah, 700K. Thank you, Nikki. Yes.
What happened? What do I do when my videos start not uploading?
Bring your phone closer to the router and see if that helps. Go get it and try it.
I'm trying to upload one more time.
Okay. Let me know how it goes. Okay. LC, the topic, we're talking about creators monetizing their platforms in ways that are in alignment with who they are. Like, what's the best way for you to monetize that makes sense for the kind of brand that you have, the kind of person that you are. And I was using Kountry Wayne as an example of how people can monetize as entertainers. Because he gives a decent amount of detail about like his structure and how he pays people and how it works. And so it was so good. Kids are so lucky to have Wi-Fi. I remember family computers, right? Dial up and everything. But with 900 pieces of content, I think, yeah. Definitely paid. But the thing that I mean, look, listen, you need money to fund your dreams, okay? I'm never gonna take that away. But the thing that impresses me the most is that he's able to do this really doing something that he enjoys. And I love the fact that he's sticking to his values, and also that he is able to employ other people. Like, I just feel like that to me is a level of success as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, however you identify. I did, because I'm realizing now that that's like a debate. But it, as an entrepreneur, like, is that's a certain pinnacle that I just think that is so, there's so much honor in that, like really being able to bring other people on and pay other people well. Like, so dope. Facts. I want to make money online because I need a new stream of income. LC, I'm gonna be having a workshop teaching people how to monetize their platform. So if you are already creating content, or if you already have a product, check it out. I got to do like a whole formal description of it and stuff. I'm gonna get to it when I get to it, y'all. Sales pages are, I do not like making sales pages, so I realize that people need to know more information about it. That's why I try to talk about it on live and then just tell you about it in the moment, or if you're on my email list. But we working on it. We working on it. We are working on it. Okay. And he pays well. Yes, he does. I was an attendee at a fake wedding scene, and he was just sitting there and got paid. Oh, it was just sitting there and got paid. Oh, that's cool, Nani. That is so dope. A lot of my friends do his skits. See, look at that. We got evidence of his character right there. I love that. I love that. I like it when it feels honest. Yeah. I like it when it feels honest. I like it when it feels like it's okay for it to be profitable, and it's okay for it to make money. I'm not sure why I made that small, y'all. It's okay for it to make money. But it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your values and your morals for that to happen. So definitely does. He asked me to do his skits, but I only do Tyler Perry. I like the bad wigs. Oh, okay. Okay. No, bad wigs is definitely a thing. I think that he does it on purpose now. I'm just convinced. I'm convinced. Either he does it on purpose or he just does not care enough to change it. What's your thoughts on Risa Tisa? Have you talked about that yet? I talked about it a little bit. I touched on it a little bit. I think that I think that it's, first of all, it's a shame that she was bringing so much revenue for TikTok, and for them to not be fairly compensated for that in return. Like, I just think that that's tragic. Okay. I also feel like there's still a chance for her to I guess to keep, like, the people like listening to her tell stories. So, like, even if she continued the series on like what her life is like now, how it is like getting back out there and learning to love yourself, dating again, because at some point that's probably going to happen. Like, I think that she could continue on and develop a platform. My only suggestion, though, for her is that she doesn't just do it on TikTok. Because even Kountry Wayne was talking about the fact that he posts mainly on Facebook and on YouTube, because the pay structure is what makes the most sense for him. He's like, TikTok, the money's not coming in for TikTok. And so, really, okay, listen, I don't know. I don't know. If she wants to continue telling fake stories, because if she wants to continue telling fake stories, do it somewhere where you can get paid. Do it somewhere where you could get paid. Honestly, I feel like even if they weren't her stories, but if people sent in stories for her to talk about, like that might be interesting too. I just think that she shouldn't do it over here. Like, I I think she shouldn't do it over here. I really do think that she should take it somewhere else, because if people are interested in her content and they're watching it for 10 plus minutes, then that's 10 minutes that could have been spent somewhere where you can get the ad revenue. Because think about it, if she was posting those videos on YouTube instead, and I don't know if she's doing this now, but if she was posting those videos on YouTube instead, then she could have grown, because people were just trying to find the videos. So even if they weren't on TikTok, if she would have had those videos on YouTube, her platform could have grown from that, right? Like, she could have got subscribers on YouTube. Monetization would have been nothing. She could have got monetized literally in like that same day. And she would also have the watch time, because her videos, I don't know how many hours that is, because I didn't do the math, and I just didn't feel like doing the math, y'all. But her watch time would have been well over the minimum requirement for her to be able to qualify for monetization on YouTube. And on YouTube, you're not getting like this. It's weird over here because they have like this certain particular way where the only way to get monetized from the creativity fund is if they are unique views, and if people watch it past a certain amount of time, and if they are from the For You page. So if I go to your page, thank you, Tony. If I go to your page to watch your videos, those views don't count, which is wild. Because what? They're views. Like, why would that even matter? But anyway, I saw a replay of her video on YouTube, and the video got 52,000 views. Those could have been hers. Like, if people want the Risa Tisa story, it should be from her platform. But people are just reposting her stuff and getting views from it. So it's like, bro, I'm taking my talents to where they're appreciated. Yes, Nani, that's exactly how it works. That's why she's not making money from it. So by the time she was brought into the Creator Fund, the videos that she posted previously, those views don't count. So the views for the videos only count from the day you're approved for the Creator Fund. I think that they have like a little bit of time in between, like when you submit it and when it's approved. But outside of that, you don't make money from those views. And then if you get a violation, you also are not eligible for you're not eligible to be in the fund. Like, you get like a probation period. And also too, as well, because I think that the violation was because she was reposting her own videos. So she was reposting her videos so that she could get the views to count for the Creator Fund. And if you repost content, it's likely that